I'd like to go over how the organism classification project was graded, so you have an idea of what we were looking for. So again, this is the student example that you saw in getting the assignment, so you understood what a good project looked like. Okay, so name, period, teacher, date, the name of the organism, and then the scientific name. Genus capitalized, species lowercase. Some of you lost 5 points if you did not put your scientific name, or if the scientific name was incorrect. You definitely lost 5 points if you didn't, put this information down here in the corner. And again, I wasn't even care if it was in the corner, but it had to be on your opening slide. And also, if you spelled my name wrong, it's January, and so you should know that my name is Mr. Dot period space capital Nielsen. It's on your classroom page. Should never be spelled wrong at this point. If I was your boss, you kept spelling my name wrong, I'd have to fire you. So keep that in mind, right? So when we go through the slides, one of the major things that happen with people is that they did not put the picture of their organism all the way through. So here's the giraffe, and then kingdom. There's a picture of a giraffe. Perfect. And then there's a picture of giraffe. And all the way through from, kingdom down to species should have included the giraffe. Okay. And then always 3 pictures in total. So you should have 2 other animals or organisms that are in that same classification with that organism. This was a very, very important point. You had to make sure you understood what the characteristic was. So a notochord, right? If you're in the phylum Chordata, you have a notochord, a central nervous system, and vertebrae, right? You have backbones. The more you can put these also in your own words, the better off you were. If you took the time to look at what vertebrae were and you understood they were the bones in your back that had joints that allowed you to bend your back, that was a great thing to say. A notochord, a nerve cord, if you were able to, again, put that in your own words, that was another thing. So these are 2 other examples of organisms that have nerve cords along with the giraffe. So the point of this was to be able to notice, hey, wow, that's so weird that a giraffe is included with an alligator, is included with a rhinoceros, and to understand why. And the other really important connection to make was that as you got down further, like in genus, hey, wow, it looks like they're all giraffes. Yes, they are all giraffes because they're that closely related. They're not the same species. They can't breed, produce fertile offspring, but they are very, very similar. Okay? And so by the time you get to species, then you would have only 3 pictures of the organism that was on your first slide. So that was very, very important to have that happen. So I want to show you 2 examples. So here's an example over here of someone that did the panda, and really a great presentation. I mean, all the way through, I could tell they put a lot of time into it. It looks neat. It looks great. But I hope the problem that you're noticing is that they use the panda all the way through for every picture, right? And that really did not give them the ability to make connections with understanding the other organisms that were in that classification group and why. Okay? So, what I did at this point was I took a bit of points off that. You're going to get your grades back and you'll have an opportunity to, make some connections or some corrections on that and, get a better grade. But so you got to change the other pictures up, right? I have to know, okay, the phylum Chordate, here's again, means you have a vertebrae. There are squirts and lancelets in that group. It would have been nice to see a picture of a squirt and a lancelet instead of 3 pictures of the panda. Okay, so the squirt, the lancelet, and the panda would have been perfect on this slide and gotten full credit. Okay? Here's another student example. And in this one, this one's about the coyote. The only knock I would have here is these pictures are a little distorted. If you're going to be inserting pictures, you should try to make sure you keep the resolution so it doesn't look all weird and stretched out. But they've got the kingdom, and this would again be some points off because I don't see the coyote here, right? But on the rest of the slides, Okay, from class down, they started to include the coyote, which was great. And the coyote really should have been included all the way through on every slide, along with the other types of organisms that were in there. And then as you go down from domain to species, or kingdom to species, you realize that the pictures got very similar looking. Whereas at the top, they started out very, very different, right? These things were all very different from the coyote. And again, my only knock is that coyote should have been one of these three pictures. I did want to point out too that the person who did this one did a really nice job of the descriptions, right? So Kingdom Animalia includes animals. You have to be multicellular. You have to obtain nutrition from organic sources, means you eat other things, right? You're a heterotroph. And the word heterotroph would have been nice to be used there. Okay, we've already talked about chordata. Phylum, the class of coyote is mammal. You need to have fur, you're warm-blooded, and you have a complex brain. So those are three characteristics. And the reason I chose this is because some of the slides I looked at, I could tell the people really just used a lot of jargon from the internet that they didn't understand. So that was another thing that I really looked for. For instance, the coyote is carnivora. You need high percentage of animal proteins obtained from meat and fish. So that's a really fancy way that someone wrote on the internet, but really you just have to say they eat meat, right? Um, and carnivores have sharp teeth and or are poisonous. So, there's a certain way to write things, and I understand that some things you're going to take from the internet, and this is a good one actually. But some people took a lot of stuff from the internet, so it's always very important that you take other people's work and put it in your own words. Okay, so when you see your grade, you'll understand why it was graded that way. Um, Certainly, you had to have all the slides for all the classifications. You had to have pictures, and then on the title page, you had to have the scientific name correct and all information here, including your name as well. I took some of that information out, but this would have been it. All right, I hope this was helpful, and have a good day.